My mobile phone here, and I have a quite strong Wi-Fi in my home, and there are several ways I can take several cameras, mobile cameras, and bring them into the performance. I'm basing the entire studio around this digital mixer here. It's from Blackmagic Design. It's very affordable, very cheap. You can record. And if you have a look at the, what's it called, the gallery view, so you can see the multiple cameras, if everyone does that, you can see I actually have, I think, yes, 3 cameras on at the moment. I have this one here, where I'm kind of waving on with the green screen background. I have the mobile camera here, which is me here, where you can see me sitting on my chair, which I'm just going to use now to point at the studio. So I have these 3 monitors, and I have a camera in the kitchen. These are both mobile cameras. Since it's very early in the morning, I haven't set it up completely properly. But what I was talking Inga Meta about was this mixer here that I'm showing here. So that, for instance, it's probably a little bit confusing to show you this way, but I have my Macintosh here, a laptop, and 2 old monitors here, and a video monitor here that is showing what is shown on the screen. And if I touch this button with the mixer, I'm going to move between one screen and another screen, and I can then bring myself in there, and I can use the digital mixer that you have here with the different buttons on it to bring myself into the image in different ways. So I can come full screen, or I can move around. And this digital mixer is at the heart of it, if you have a look at the mobile phone. And what I was saying is it can basically bring in anything that comes in from the HDMI inputs here, 4 different HDMI inputs, which can be very low cost web cameras or old web cameras. So from you know, 30, 40 euros, you can get a brand new HDMI web camera, up to 200 for a high quality 4K web cameras. And you can mix that with the input from people just bringing in their mobile phones, Android phones. So if you do a live recording, so here I'm beginning to build a studio with some green screen effect. In this room here, I have a second studio that I'm sort of building. I'll turn this on. And here I have a second mixer on this table here with a camera, an old camera. And here I've painted this wall green, and I can do green screen work here. And I can show this, but I'm not going. I have a kind of like a DJ setup here with an old tablet here that I'm working with. And I have a mixer here for music and what have you. So there is a lot of potential in terms of using this opportunity to really communicate to the world, and to use a technology which can be really quite basic technology, old smartphones, old cameras that you find around, donated open source hardware, paint and material, to put together a studio which at the same time can connect to a really a bunch of musicians and artists that are in Berlin, who are professional musicians at a higher level, and also to connect directly to, let's say, a TV studio. And so you can bring the kind of DIY or home storytelling capability into the professional setting in a way which we haven't been able to do before. And that we can use this in a wide variety of settings. So we can use it in arts and culture and music. we can use it in education, and we can use it in conference settings to help projects. And the particular project we wish to start with is really Grow a Tree educational World Climate School. So the environmental story, bringing together different projects and working together to see how we can coordinate that work, bringing together some artists and multimedia storytellers together with a project that needs some fundraising or wants to run a conference or do an educational project, and do that in a way which we embed that storytelling in the local community and the global community. There is this writing platform here that I think I'll just show you on the, I'll get myself out of the way here, excuse me. Make myself smaller. So this wiki that Inga Mette introduced here is something, here is some research I did because I came across the fact from you guys at Grow a Tree Foundation that the baobab wasn't something that was just in Madagascar, which I thought from the Little Prince story, but is in fact generally in Africa. And I started to research the particular trees that there are and the trees that are in particular locations in Zimbabwe. Let's see, where is that? Here. So for instance, here, I brought this information in here, and then there are particular notable trees. And I just did a little bit of research yesterday about these trees and started writing about them. I also called up, because I called up a project that I know about that I thought might make an interesting partner for us, which is, if I search here, it's called We Forest. I didn't write too much about them, but We Forest here is a project. I put their contact here. They mentioned something I didn't know about, Miombo woodlands, this form of woodlands that you have in Africa in the kind of place. So these things I was learning myself, right, and researching. And now this site only I can write on. I'm writing my research notes. But Inga Mette has a site. Let's find hers. She has many. So she has IMS, for instance, this one, .dojo. Let me just find it here and open it up. This is her site where she started to learn this, and she met some people in Norway who are working on this idea of an obeya. If I find, any case, this is her site. This is, I'm here having, hey, Coleman, I wrote that up here, and he can claim that as his page. And there's a beautiful, strange little key here. When he hits that key, he will make it his own personal page. So what I've done, I made something called zooming down to zero. It means that who can be the winner when having zero pollution. And I'm claiming that Zimbabwe can be one of these most prominent countries. So this, they globally, and for you, these pages, the small cards can look very strange, but they're perfectly fitting into a mobile form. So when the Green Wiki Writers Club from Zimbabwe, when I hit this blue thing, then I can write about it. But if I, for example, if I double click and okay, let me double click on this page. We write to, we prepare, we are the team to make Zimbabwe green, for example. And then I save it, Control S, then it's there. So here is, and here is, then I just have, so here is, so it's just the blue dots
and the 0, how to, and this is the mission possible, and this is the small thing I started with your father, Kuda, the Kuda senior in this in this team. Here is my friend from when we created this mission possible.
Hi, I'm here on the secret web. It's a very green river. It's in fact a green river.
Yeah.
And
you see the thing, and that's the mission possible. And then we made the Zimbabwean playground from that in Norway. We made that one. Yeah, you understand the point. So I'm having the Victoria Falls and the girls and the river blue. I make this thing, and I, just as we spoke, I think for example, if I on this one Green Deal Wiki, if I may write Wick Falls, Green Deal. So that's the global Green Deal. Here I'm opening. I want to work on this project. I claim it. I put this small wiki, and then I do it again. Oh, sorry. This is, then you see this one is open. Then I go here and I take away this one. Just all delete. We are the green team. Save. This is Haig Coleman. Save. It's a spelling mistake. And if I want to make it like a new page and a new story, I use this square bracket like this. So you see, it is a small thing that we have to sit together and learn, but we can do it. Then this comes up.
Correct the O.
Yeah, I know. This is just the, so it means that on this place in front of the Green Deal, we can have every school in Zimbabwe, every tree planting project, every child even, or a team. And this, and David and myself, we in parallel with the founders of the Wikipedia. So we are really on a testing ground on a very advanced technology. I will stop my sharing. I'm sure you understand the thing quite well. I think so, a Greek fan has to comment this because you're new to this small team, the green team from Zimbabwe. The winning.
No, I'm finding it very interesting, and I really like the wiki because I can imagine many things you can do with it. You know, if you want to show and project all your projects, it's very nice. It's very interesting, and it's very useful. It's a very useful tool.
What we could do, I don't know if that works for you, Inga, is split up into 2 small groups, and we actually set you guys up with your own writing space and just start learning how to do that. But that's what I want to get down to. This is just a bit of a chaotic introduction. The only way to really understand is to actually practice ourselves and maybe be in a smaller group and ask questions and learn as we're doing. And then we can come back together again, because otherwise it's kind of just very early in the morning, me with coffee, me and Inga Meta trying to explain lots of things and you watching. And so it's much more confusing than hands-on. But the other thing we can also do is just talk and ask questions at this one. But for me personally, I want to get down to helping someone set up their own site, helping them, showing how to write. And in that process, we can be talking and learning from each other.
Maybe I'd like to comment, if it's okay.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So when I was invited to the Zoom meeting, and this is my first Zoom meeting, and I really was trying to understand and also appreciate where all this is coming from. And I can say right now, I have a better understanding and a better appreciation. And now speaking on behalf of Zimbabwe, it's very interesting the way we're going to be linking art or music with climate change. This is something that's totally new in Zimbabwe. And you'd find out that if we, like as Grow a Tree Foundation, each time we'd go into the schools, we really are trying to introduce and to share with the children climate change. These are the youth, these are the children, these are the future of Zimbabwe. So now when we are bringing in music, when you're bringing in storytelling, sorry for that, it's something that will appeal to the young. It's something that will stay with them. And it's something that I'm really appreciating, because if you look at all the artists in Zimbabwe, I'm yet to find one artist who advocates for climate change. So this is a new whole level, and I'm really appreciating it. And it's something that I would really appreciate if we'd come up with songs that when you say we have an event, would, for example, in advance before the actual event, we can you know, we can talk to the children, they can sing, we can teach the children that song. It's something that will stay with them, and it's something that they can understand at their level. And then we can also have ready-made stories that they can also do that role playing, or that they can act, you know, just before the tree planting. So it's something that I'm really appreciating, and I'm so excited. We cannot wait as Grow a Tree. That's how I can say yes. So
Thank
because
you.
of this whole time, I really was trying to understand. I asked Kuda to explain to me, and you know, this meeting, it has just taken me to a new level, and I'm so excited to be part of it. And I cannot wait, because this is something new to Zimbabwe, and to have an impact to the Zimbabweans.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And not only Zimbabwe, even in Greece, it's going to be something new, combining, you know, climate change with arts. It's something new even here in Greece. Even here in Greece, we don't have artists advocating for climate change. So it's something we're going to start first. And I hope many others will follow the example.
Mm-hmm. And it's showing that it's a role for everyone. Everyone is now incorporated. It's no longer about government officials or the women or, you know, the youths. It's everyone. It's incorporating everyone. So I like the way we are, you know, the artists are now coming into climate change to say, this is our thing. We can make a difference, and showing that everyone has a role. And you know, I'm so excited. That's all I can say. Otherwise, I can go on and on and on.
Just to add to what you're saying, I'll just show you, this is a project we did just live. It was, I think, 1 day or 2 days, working with a musician and someone who works with video, and round a story, a children's story. And I think here we have...
High in the mountains and far across the forest of time lies a land that many people call Hapistan.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's some, this is a kind of poem, and then it ends up being a bit of a song for children, and we made a little video of it, which looks like this.
This was for World Climate School in Pakistan.
Yeah. I maybe didn't play the video smoothly. I'm not really set up, but we did this mix with the collaboration between someone in Australia, a musician here, and the beginning of the kind of home studio. And it was precisely for young people, and like the idea of creating a new form of children's television show around environmental themes. So it was to do with flying carpets and growing plants and an environmental message. So I'll just show you a hint of that, of the sort of collaboration that we can start to produce together with young people in an educational context. So I was picking on what you said, Shailene, and that's definitely how I would like to see this collaboration to grow, so that in the spring next year, when the flowers and the plants grow and coronavirus has started to come down, you know, and Earth Day starts again and we move towards COP26 next year, you know, and there's a bit more of a positive mood. If we can just learn together and prepare, we can launch some amazing storytelling based on really authentic stories of people in schools, people on the ground, telling the world how they feel and what they want for the future, with this kind of international co-production with artists and educators. We can do that just on our own means by working together and learning the skills we need to realize that. And that's what excites me.
So David, for the 27th of November, in 2 weeks' time, with the Stoneridge Park Primary School, or not Park, Stoneridge Primary School, it's I know there is a tree planting project that will be launched and prepared as a pilot, and there will be, we should really try to bring the video together and how we can produce something. And as you said, Shailene, the music, how can we bring new songs to Zimbabwe and make that vibrant energy from the joy that the children will show when this is going to happen. So yeah, it's a beginning. We need a songwriter from Greece. Can you produce a song?
Of course, easily. And I also have an idea while we're talking. Since we're trying to connect different countries at the same time talking about the climate change and stuff, it would be very nice if we created something like a platform to connect schools from each country which is participating in the project. Let's say we can start off with one school that has a task to, you know, save one tree or plant a tree. And then the next country has to do the same thing, and all the countries have to plant a tree and adopt a tree, let's say, and take care of it. And it'll be like a school project. And then all these people, they'll be sharing the story of the tree in the platform, all the children. And then we can add extra tasks, like let's say each school can write a song about that tree.
Yes.
Each school can make a video of that tree and share it in the platform. So it's going to be like one world, one platform, talking about climate change and doing things about climate change.
Yes, yes. Just talking creatively with the story you made me think of here is this kind of daisy world is actually based on an environmental story of James Lovelock, where there's this kind of, you can see at the bottom here, there's this kind of world which is made of daisies, right? A small world that actually has a baobab tree on it. It comes from The Little Prince, right? And every tree that is planted, we could, in the animation, we could actually, on the visuals, we could show a new tree on this little planet, and we could show the trees growing as new schools or new projects join. And I'm thinking that this tree kind of, because I talked to a project that wants to plant many, many trees as well around the world. It's called We Forest, and they're like want to, you know, plant millions of trees and what have you. They're into the effectiveness of a lot scale. And the beauty of doing it in a school is slightly different. It's really communicating to the people, and the learning experience and the ability to touch it and do it yourself makes that connection between the community and the environmental problem. And I'm seeing this tree as almost like a democratic representative of maybe 1,000 trees in the forest. And this is the connection between the school and the forest. There's one baobab tree, or this one tree that you planted. Getting that storytelling and that emotional connection between the environment and the school and the connection to other spaces, so that you don't feel alone, that you feel connected as part of a global movement. That's a beautiful story, and something that we can do, that ranges from very simple acts of getting a seed and planting, and the educational act around that, using a mobile phone to take a picture in social media, filming it, to actually creating a three-dimensional model and making the visualization of the globe and the tree planting, to, you know, we can make a mobile app of this, or an augmented reality app. We can go from very simple to very ambitious putting together of the media and the storytelling.
Yeah, for me, this storytelling is about the Hollywood storytelling from Zimbabwe. It's to tell the story coming from Zimbabwe as a way to get euro and dollars into your country. So that's what we're having in mind. We have to create a good, sustainable village, as also that Hege is saying, that we have a children's game called the Green City, or the Green Village. And I'd like to say that, David, you were presenting this Daisy World, which is a new thing in this context, but the Daisy World is made by James Lovelock, and he is the founder in a scientific way of the Gaia theory. And Gaia theory is from Greek, is the goddess Gaia. So that's again the making Zimbabweans proud, yes, but also making children of Greece proud about the Gaia theory. And that's the way. You probably have an animation behind you, David, that you could present, I think, but that's the Gaia, which means the Earth Mother, and it's and that's, if we can make this partnership with animal and the wildlife. So all children likes elephants and giraffes and the crocodile, and, you know, all the animals, and we have to take care of that as the Zimbabweans.
Picture a simple theoretical planet.
Make it bigger, David, if you can. That's the Greek. So that's the growing, to explain children how to grow flowers is a way to keep balance on the planet, on the ecosystem.
And this is a video from NASA, actually. So it's
a bringing complicated science into children's songs and entertainment.
So the environmental story here is James Lovelock published this scientific paper looking at climate change, where he did a model of this planet which had just white daisies and black daisies on it, and these daisies grew or died by natural evolution, and maintained the temperature of the model planet to the right temperature for daisies to grow. And this is something where they did an animation of that scientific paper, and also telling the story of global warming and how the energy works and so forth, but in a way that children can relate to. I'm just showing glimpses of things here, but it's just like, in terms of, again, the international partnership, you can bring real climate science with material that people have produced in different parts of the world, you know, from big organizations like NASA Space Agency, satellite imagery, to the intimate details of telling a story about a house plant that you're growing, or a tree that you're planted in your school. So it's an unexplored space to make that emotional connection between things in your local environment and your local community and this global scale impact. And the only way to make that connection is to use this combination of science and art and storytelling. And that's what the studio is designed to do as a social purpose. But it is something practically we can do. And everyone also learns these very practical skills in doing it as well. You know, if you're a young person, learning how to make videos, learning how to record music, learning how to film and tell a story is exciting for you. You know, it gives you a voice.
David, there is one thing that is you haven't presented really. That's the zooming down on the plants, because for Shailin, working with children in plants, it could be quite an interesting thing. And if you want to split, you will, or maybe, and if you want to split in groups, I think there's two topics. One is to write together with maybe Haig. So yes, the microscope into classrooms and to have scientific understanding of the plants, Shailin. That's what we're having, a digital format as a laboratory to bring to schools. And what's the cost for that tool, the tech tool for that microscope, David, that is connected to?
Okay, I'll show that as well. I don't want to show too many things because I know it can be confusing all at once, but let's see, yes. Where is the microscope?
But it's just because Shailin is, and we're preparing for something for children next week. It's just to have the ideas up. But what we really need to work is the fundraising and how we can use music now to get that limelight on Zimbabwe. What you do.
So I'll briefly tell you the story of how for next spring, what I was working at in terms of storytelling around the growing of plants in the environmental story. So, you know, you can obviously be cruel and create your own, potted plants. This plant, for instance, here, this common house plant, is underneath, put into that an LED grow light, which is this plant, because it's in a studio, has no natural sunlight. So there's this story about energy here that comes from this LED grow light, and how much energy does it cost to keep this plant alive? There are other examples here of, like, here is another plant, and here is a grow light, or you could do it in very small context, like here in a, sorry, my hand's in there, in a box there, and these grow lights, like this one here, they're about 15 euros to create these grow lights, and they have the science of the red lights, which are used to tell the plant that they should flower, or the blue lights, which they use for the energy to grow. And when you want to do that storytelling, you can also bring these digital microscopes, which just plug into the computer. And I haven't got it plugged in, so I can't show you. But this microscope here, you can put plants or insects or anything in there. And this one's a little bit more expensive. I think it's about 40 euros. But some of them, and they're very nice and good, are only, again, about $15, $20 to get a digital microscope. And live, you can bring the images of, you know, plant life, pond life, plants. Is the plant sick? Is it healthy? And we can tell the story of the overall energy cycle of, you know, ultraviolet or sunlight coming in, the plant absorbing the sunlight, it needing basic simple nutrients, turning the carbon into leaves and stems, and looking at the, you know, the whole mathematics and story around what this plant is doing, is something that you can do as a practical project. You can put sensors in here as well that measure the carbon dioxide, the acidity, the dryness of the water. And as a little science project in a school, you can get very detailed about the science and yeah, it's a plant you grow and you're in contact with. That on a bigger scale can obviously be a tree, but it's something that you can do at home and you can do with a flower or plant as well. Do this kind of stop animation of the growth just to show you, so we can here create the imagery of the growing or the opening of the flower. Again, all based on just a mobile phone camera pointed at the project that you're growing, just to indicate why this silly image is on
It's
screen.
amazing, David. Thank you so much.
Yeah, maybe my comment will be, I'm appreciating the connection and narrowing it down to Zimbabwe. I guess it will now depend with the school that will be maybe presenting the connection with, because sometimes, for example, the coming event on the 27th, if you are to look at the background of the children, now trying to present to them the connection linking with what has just been presented by David, trying to make them understanding, that would be a bit too complicated for them because of their background. It would be too complex, if you understand what I'm saying, because already we are introducing climate to them. It's something that's not really a reality, depending on the side of the location of Zimbabwe that you're presenting, that you'll be doing the presentation on. It's different when you're doing that kind of presentation, maybe in Manicaland, where the cyclone Ida, Chimanimani area, where it was hit by cyclone, they would understand it, but so now narrowing it down, maybe specifically to the upcoming event, I stand to be guided by you. I don't know if we have something that's that can be understood from a layman point of view, that's not too complex, that's not too complicated for the children. I don't know if we can have, if we can come up with maybe a song, maybe a drama. This side we call it a drama, a role play that they can, a 5 minutes presentation. If we can have a poem that talks to them, that appeals to them more, even if it's about animals. We really wouldn't want to do a poem about bears because it's a far-fetched idea. It's not, it doesn't really talk to them. I don't know if you understand me.
Yes, totally. Yes, I agree. Yes.
You do understand. So I'm not sure now, maybe if we're looking to the upcoming event, if maybe we can have something, because this is a launch of the program, we really would want to try, even if it's not perfect, we really would want something so that we can introduce to the children, and it can also have that, it can kick up, our vision.
Thinking of timescales and practicalities as well. I'm very keen on, and the Daisy World project, which is just in the kind of early stages, is based around a simple poetic children's story, fairy story with music, and that you can, in the background, you can, when you want, you can bring in a little bit of science of a particular story. It's like every month or every week you could release a new episode of the story, and the children can be involved with their drawings and their songs in telling that story. So it's like a radio play that we make together, is how I kind of saw it. But that's something, my timescale for that is to build our teamwork together and to build the capability to fix the problems of the microphones, to learn how to ride together, so that maybe in the spring we're ready to do this. So I'm trying to translate that timescale to the shorter timescale of the launch and the planting of trees, and that's what I want to. That's what I'm thinking now myself. What can we do in that timescale? So. And what we can do simply as well. So I'm not sure of what the answer of that is. What I have in my most immediate and obvious sense is the idea that we can work with teachers, we can start to educate ourselves, put a network together, lay the foundation to do this project with children that might take a little bit longer for us to be prepared about. But maybe there is something that we can suggest together that we can do more immediately, more improvised, just record the story. Ingemetta, I think you want to say something.
I think we can record and make an edited video of the children, but to really, and maybe I think the poetry and the song must come from your side.
Okay. Okay.
And you have all the skills within yourself, so that's the best thing. But what we can do on this side is that on that day we're kind of having a global team connected to on a Zoom line.
Okay.
So, and the Zoom line, in that, if we can have some kind of a mobile phone ready for that Zoom line, and then we record that dialogue as we're doing now, and we edit it. And I think Haig and the team of the K Masterpiece can join in that, together with the team of Grow a Tree Foundation, and together with us. And of course, I think from your side in Greece, to have a connection to our Greek school would be excellent. But I'm not sure if we're able to push that right now. But maybe you have a small team that you can play a song from Greece of where you are in the studio and just connect on Zoom, and then we edit that Zoom into a small story as after thing. And yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so that seems simple and practical to me. So we have these three things. We have the on the ground storytelling and collection with mobile phones. I'm happy to connect with whoever wants to learn how to do the wiki. And we create basically an archive of all these small stories from the different places. And then that archive that is added to the wiki, that video can be downloaded and edited together to make a longer form video. And we have the connection of that production line. And from that basis, we can get better and better at it. But that's a nice, simple start.
And to fundraise, to use musicians around. If I find someone here locally that would be able to fundraise from a musical point of view, and together with Zimbabwean musicians and artists and dancers, fundraising. It's too much information, isn't it? It's overwhelming.
We're digesting. Yeah.
It's also inspiring at the same time. So.
Okay, so my question is quite practical. Is like in terms of I'm particularly thinking about it's really like this wiki in this writing is the kind of glue in the middle. And I would like to run a little bit of a training course to set that up with people and see if that's a connection. Is there a connection between Zimbabwe, Greece, Norway, and London that we can use to do that? And who is ready and available to start that training? What do you think, Inga?
I think Haig Coleman has said that he is ready to start writing, and also written a lot of text already on the Green Zimbabwe, and then if we get 2 or 3 others, and then we get maybe Rebecca and the teachers around in Harare area, and then from the Greek story will be in part of that, and the wisdom, indigenous wisdom or Zimbabwean wisdom, and partnership with animals, and the totemism, and how family names are connected to animals, and how we can have sustaining a partnership with animals for survival of everyone.
So that just, the missing ingredient there is to just organize the people and make sure that there's at least one person at any location who is knowledgeable and trained up to be able to coordinate, to get the story, to get the image and what have you. That's the practical project, is human organization of people, and getting at least one kind of producer in each place who is who is empowered to actually gather the information and connect with the other locations. That's the hub, the human hub.
A human hub. It's really to coordinate a core group in Zimbabwe, and then they have the skills, and then they train other people, and then the Zimbabwe will be the most advanced writers, authors on that wiki, on the Green Deal of greening the African heart of Zimbabwe. So that's the gift that we're giving here. So
maybe my question will be, is this also extending to school children? Are they also able to join in or to be trained in, so that they can write up essays, you know, sort of like a competition, I don't know, something like that, so that they can also be trained even though they are young? Or it's only limited to adults? Maybe that would be my question.
Mm-hmm. The short answer is no, absolutely. It directly can be related to children, and children can have their own site and their own writing. They can do it in, you know, anywhere from like 6 years old upwards. We could do it with. It's just really a question of what works, where to start.
Okay.
So in one way, the most obvious way is, I don't know, to start with the teachers and make sure that you have, like, as a human hub, one teacher who is, then they can engage the children. But in another sense, you might find, I don't know, the teachers are busy, or they're not got the same energy, or what have you. And if you have a teenager who is into music, who is really active and has access to the computer, that person can be the human hub, and that person can teach the teachers, you know? So it just depends. And I don't know, because I'm not there on the ground, who is there. But you need someone with passion, and someone who, or practically, who is, it's their job to be this human hub, to undertake the learning themselves, and then pass that learning on. And whether you find that in a young person, or whether you find that in a teacher or a group, it's just up to you knowing the community. And practically, right now, it's a little bit, it's not perfectly set up to work with a mobile. I mean, you can use the mobile as a camera or a recording device, but to actually write and create on the let's say, the website on the mobile is not set up. We want to work together, and we can work together with children to create a mobile application. We can do that sort of thing. But the missing thing is not the knowledge or even the hardware. It's really the social network of finding one person who wants to learn and wants to turn up regularly and be that human hub. And whether that's a young person, a mother, a family, a business, a school, it's whoever it is that is on the ground. So that's me trying to communicate. If we have someone on the ground, wherever it is, who wants to turn up, we can teach, we can share the knowledge, and we can start to connect these things in a very pragmatic way. But the missing thing is the person needs to be, you know, it's like, I talk about it, it's like learning to ride a bicycle. You know, it's quite intuitive and it's free, you know, like when you have the skill, but you have to be motivated enough to learn, and then you can easily show your friend how to do it afterwards, you know, but and you can share the bicycle, you know. So it's like, but it isn't something you can just quickly pick up and do straight away. We have to put that human organization in place.
Yeah. But this is again like the old library bus in Zimbabwe. I'm not sure they're driving anymore, but this if there was like an electrical vehicle with a wagon on that is like a mobile teacher team that is going to parking the wagon and using solar energy to power the car, etc. Maybe that's the moving teacher to teach school by school by school, or so it goes along the planting of the trees in a way. But anyway, what I'd like to see is that if I talk with Haig and that team, and we connected on the writing on the name under each name, and then we start, you know, just as I showed you, just like double click, write a bit, and save it, come and make a link, and then we link each other's writing. It's possible to train ourselves very slowly, and we can actually launch a global writing competition of a multimedia scale from Zimbabwe. So you launch it to the world. It's much more interesting if you take that on charge in Zimbabwe on behalf of all the five big animals and planting of trees. And even the Victoria Falls as one of the wonders of the natural world. And you have that story to really amaze children around the world. And then it means that if we can sell that to the United States, to Europe, or to Pakistan, India, big countries, we will have income for our work and the teachers in Zimbabwe. So the Baobab storytelling society of teachers in Zimbabwe, it's like collecting the children around or inside a virtual baobab tree, and we tell the secret, the story of the baobab tree, the wisdom of hundreds of years. How old can a baobab tree be? How many years?
2,490 years is the oldest.
Is it?
Yes.
I didn't know.
There's
but
the big tree at Victoria Falls. I've been looking at baobab trees.
but from talking with your father, the Kuda Senior, he is really thinking that we have the job is to plant indigenous old Zimbabwean trees or in Southern Africa. So there is like the ecosystem of indigenous trees and then the new food gardens planting of apple trees, fruit trees and berries in microclimate. Well.
My concern here is just the practicalities of organizing the people that we have, to make the start of a network, to do it practically. Yeah. So I'm happy to turn up and to do some teaching and to help set up the websites and to train whoever comes. But what we need is people on the ground who will turn up, who will set up the sound well where they are. Want to have the if you like, the patience to learn how to create a site and how to write and act as a human hub for the particular community they're attached with. And then we can make some connections with some teachers and funders and an international community who will help support that even in the early stages. And then we can work together as well on the fundraising for that. And it's a kind of slow process, but what we need is people on the ground, 3, 4, 5 people, and just to have at least one person says, I will take the responsibility to learn how to be the human hub and to write in Wiki. And from there, we can reach out to teachers and use mobile phones and record it, but without the production infrastructure of 3 or 4 people where one person is responsible in each place and to get to know each other and work together, it'll be confusing and too fragmented and be quite hard to organize. So that's really the human infrastructure we need to put in place first. So at each place, whether it be in Greece or a location in Zimbabwe, I think we need to identify at least one person who is going to set up a writing space and wants to collaborate with the other locations and act as a coordinating human hub. that's my thought right now as the most important thing, because there are many ideas, many opportunities, and it can be very exciting, but without the pragmatic coordination, it'll fall apart. So we need to seize the opportunity that we have by working well together.
Yeah. Thank you, David. Now the K Masterpiece, they are in multimedia, so they're good in editing the video, and they have the music connection to Greece and so. And then with the Grow a Tea Foundation, that they are in Harare, which is.
Okay, so I mean, for me, because I don't have quite the same longer term sort of relationship and connection. It's like these place names and everything are not so concrete for me. What I'm thinking about I can do, and what I would like to put in place, is also something a bit slower and longer term, right? So I can't really think too much. I've got a conference, a talk to give this Friday, and my head's in something else. But what I would like to do is to establish a group, a class that we can have where people want to learn how to write in this wiki, but to be these kind of human hubs, right? And I could, if it was in the context of schools and teachers, yeah, something like this. So there's these 2 schools or these 3 schools, or there's this community of musicians and this one teacher, whoever the people on the map are, and in each place have one coordinator. I can run that class and turn up and write with them and teach with them, and also connect with some people, some projects. There's a project of teachers and a community of teachers that I know that want to learn this in other parts of the world. So one particular one, and I can introduce them, is in Oregon, Portland, Oregon in America, and also one in Australia. You don't know about this, Ingametta, but they also want to run an educational project using the wiki, and they are training teachers with this agile learning model. So I can imagine connecting, it could be 3 or 4 or 5 schools or just individual teachers who want to work together with their students. And then we can bring in an artist into, or one or more artists into that network. But to me, it's where are these schools and teachers who are the initial people who want to train and learn up and help grow this project. And I would like to know, let's say if it's in Zimbabwe, is there a small network of schools there? Can I connect that internationally to some students who are abroad, whether it be in Greece or whether it be America or whether it be London? I can help activate that. And we can just, if we get a small group of people who want to learn together regularly, right, we can prepare the ground. So it's a slower sort of preparation. And my question is, like, who are the first human hubs? Who are the first teachers? And if we can get concrete about that, then I think that makes the everything else flow from there, from my side at least. And that's one thing. Another thing I think Ingametta is talking about is, let's just, there's some launch and some tree planting. It's happening this weekend. Let's edit the video together and start on that as a particular project. That's a kind of a different timescale and a separate thing concrete to be made. And maybe there's a third thing, which is how do we do something very focused on art, music, and video. For the people who are really interested in that, who have maybe some musical equipment or some cameras, and they want to connect and grow. These are kind of 3 different groupings: a grouping of teachers, educators, human hub connected to their community, a specific project around documenting the planting of trees, and can we start to reach out to an arts music community who are interested in this technology for their own thing, and who are maybe also interested in the environmental side and will cooperate with us. And those are the pieces, human pieces of the jigsaw, I think we have to work with.
Absolutely. On the last note, I think in Moreo with Haig and Koda Senior and K Masterpiece, we have that a small community, and it's connected to Sera in Greece. So we do have like a like a Zimbabwean musical energy inside our work with what we're having here.
Yes. But we have to make that very concrete, which is like one person who's the contact person, document the, it just has to be like, when do we start? How long do we go on for? It's the real organization of it as on the human side.
Yeah.
And then we can put everyone in a WhatsApp group to communicate on that. We can say, okay, we're going to meet once a week. We're going to do this sprint for 3 days. Make sure that everyone has a setup, that only one person, but each one of those persons has set themselves up with a wiki and is ready to learn. And it's just like getting a bit more very specific about that. Who is the named person? Who is the contact there? What is their commitment? How many days, are they available that time? And if we can also have someone who's maybe responsible for coordinating that team, so that we know, it's a social thing. You need someone to ping people and say, hey, are you turning up? Do you remember? And all of this sort of thing. We need that kind of coordination. That's what I feel is very important. And obviously it's everyone is also busy, so it's very easy to just talk about the ideas and want to do something. But really, when it comes down to it, it's like, maybe we need some help. Maybe we need to call someone who can be a coordinator and is good at WhatsApp, as a volunteer, and we need that kind of on the ground structure. Maybe it's not here right now, maybe it is. But that is going to make the difference of the success or not, I think.
Yeah, well, it's true, David. It's a short term and it's a long term. Yeah, but I think Serap and in Greece and you, maybe we should give just like a closing circle now to just then to say how we can do next. And also from Grow a Tree Foundation also. Shailene, what's your feeling on this take now as we're ending for today and to follow up?
Oh, all right, fine. Maybe my immediate follow-up is a bit biased to the upcoming event because I can see most of the points that David is raising up are long-term and we still have to work on them. So now that's why I'm kind of biased on the upcoming. So maybe what Grow a Tree can contribute is most probably to work with, you mentioned Rebecca, isn't it? Yes, and with your guidance also, and the teachers on the ground at the Westridge, is it Westridge School?
Stoneridge
School. Sorry for that, Stoneridge School. Maybe to work with them, giving them guidelines, maybe on the poems that can be presented on the day, songs, because we also have 3 or 4 songs that have been presented before with other schools. They also can present. And I know with we are now racing against time because we are left with, that's about 7 days. So we'll definitely work with them and also the students so that at least we can come up with 2 or 4 presentations so that at the end the teachers can also have something to write about, something to record, something to put on our page. So that's what we can contribute as Grow a Tree. Yes, these are the immediate things that we can provide. Yes.
And Sarah, what's your Zimbabwean heart telling you, or is it a Greek?
Both. No, I like the idea that the whole thing is going to start from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is going to be the center of the whole project. and because of the Greek mythology supports environment through Gaia. I think I can help in that area, you know. Even through music, even through the Greek mythology, I can give you a lot of information that has to do with the how to call it, nature anyway. And I can also coordinate with my dad when it comes to the musical part. Or if it comes to videos and stuff, even with David, we can work together and start creating content, because I think musical or video content is very important, especially for the young kids. They need to see and hear things so they can, you know, relate to what we're talking about. It's easier for them like that. So that's something we can work with David and my dad.
Yes, thank you.
And my question or thought and what I could offer is really to try and focus on the follow-on from that event. So if we have this kind of event and we have some initial music and some initial storytelling from the children, maybe we can take some of these people and we can work together maybe on the music aspect and the storytelling and develop the mythology and think of this as like this children's story idea, which will continue every time some tree planting happens. Some more teachers can join, some more schools can join, and the storytelling can grow. But if we can just concentrate on I will be thinking about the follow-up and what we can do at that event. Invite just one extra person to sort of join and become a hub and join the network and that aspect. I also, just to say that I mentioned it before, but I had this meeting with this international project called We Forest. They're interested in international partnerships. They are at the moment very interested in making a connection to Zimbabwe. And they at the moment have only a project in Ethiopia, I think in Zambia. And they want to do this kind of green corridor down through Africa. There are different projects, but they would like to make a partnership there. So I think in terms of what I could offer in terms of follow-up as well, is to help work on those partnerships, to help work on that educational aspect of connecting to other educators, because whatever you do in Zimbabwe in terms of school children and story and baobabs, it's fantastically exciting and rich for students in other parts of the world to connect to that. It sounds fantastic, this crazy tree and this fruit and all this, you know, Victoria Falls, it's just like some mythical thing for them, you know? So like, if you can participate with music and storytelling with children from a school that far away, it's very exciting, you know? So it's like, I think just growing that connection between schools, and maybe, yes, starting with Zimbabwe as a core start, but connecting to schools in other parts and adding those, that's what I could offer to sort of help facilitate as well. So I'd like to concentrate on the follow-up and just slowly add one or another school or educator or teacher who wants to make that connection, and then help with maybe the partnerships or the that aspect as well, and the fundraising side. I don't know, I'll do a bit of everything. I'll help.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Well, with this, I will say thank you for this morning session again. And thank you to Kuda Senior, who has been drawing this team together from Marewa to Norway to Greece to London and to Harare. So thank you a lot for this morning, and thank you for bringing the Greek mythology into the Zimbabwean storytelling of the baobab tree. Well.